Hey guys, John V from PhoneArena here. Right now you're watching our video review of the Phonejoy, which is a Bluetooth-enabled gamepad for Android. The design is no doubt different from other gaming pads we've reviewed recently, like the stuff from Moga's line, just because with this, you could use it independently like so, or if you want to accommodate your smartphone, you could do that as well. It's mostly comprised out of plastic, so generally speaking, it's rather lightweight, but they do splash on some soft touch elements to some of the buttons, like the analog controls here. But the frame itself looks like they use some metal, some stainless steel. The layout's pretty characteristic of any other gamepad we've checked out. So we have a D-pad here, but it's a little bit on the stiff side, and we could say the same thing about the other buttons right here in the front. Secondary buttons as well. You have the power switch, the mode switch here, two analog sticks, but they're not full-size analog sticks, but rather they're more than nubs than anything else. And on the top edge, we have just some additional shoulder buttons. Naturally, the unique thing about the Phonejoy is the ability for it to hold our smartphone in place, but it's a little bit tricky getting it to stay in place just because you got to kind of open up the Phonejoy and then from there expand it to the length of the smartphone, and after that it pretty much seems to be firm, but we do notice just some flexing here and a little bit of flimsiness going on with it. Pairing it with the smartphone is a breeze. So we just download the app. It's the Phonejoy app. From there, we're given instructions. The app itself is a hub to what games are compatible to work with it. And of course, it breaks it down to different categories and even whether or not they're featured. It tells you the price and whatnot. And these are games that are specified to work with the gamepad. So how does the Phonejoy actually fare when it comes to gameplay? Now, for the most part, we're pretty pleased by the performance, especially for 3D games. If you're playing mostly fighting games, you might have a little bit of an issue with the directional control just because it feels a little bit on the stiff side, so you're not going to get as much of a response as you'd like. But for other things like this game here, it does the job well, especially the analog sticks, even though they might not be as accurate or super responsive like the ones we've seen from Moga's camp. It still gets the job done. Like we said, the analog sticks are pretty responsive, though sometimes they could be a little bit also on the stiff side, but for the most part, it doesn't really interfere much with the gameplay. In addition, the Phonejoy supports emulators, so you could pick up some of the classic games you played before and play it here. But the thing is that the D-pad itself is rather stiff, so it could be a little bit frustrating trying to get our characters or our players to the right spot. And if you were wondering too, the Phonejoy can accommodate 7-inch tablets like the Nexus 7 here, though you're going to only be able to use it in portrait. The one complaint we have about the design here is just that sometimes if your smartphone has its power button on the top right edge, just like the HTC One, of course it's going to be a little bit tough accessing that when it's in the gamepad itself. For an additional $10, you could snag the $80 advanced bundle, and it comes included with the soft pouch, the micro USB cable, and the two adapters, one for the micro USB port and the 3.5mm headset jack. And finally, for $90, you could snag the Pro Gamer bundle, which basically tacks on the tablet stand and a sturdier travel case. At the end of the day, what we have here is just your average conventional looking gamepad for Android. We're just not too thrilled about the stiff buttons, so for fighting games it proves to be a little bit of a challenge. And on top of that, we're not really thrilled by how it holds the handset or device in place. It just seems a little bit kind of wonky with that. So if you guys want to learn more about the Phonejoy, you could check out our website, PhoneArena.com. It's John V. Thanks for watching.